All right, so remember when we talked about cells, and I said we all started out as one cell, but then that cell started to divide, and we're made up of like 256 different types, 35 trillion cells at the most. You could look out in the yard out here, in the grass and the insects, and anything that's alive, the bacteria, anything that's made up of cells. You could take those cells, and they're only going to go into one of two classes. This is not complicated, but this is something you should remember off the top of your head. This is one thing you should take with you from biology, right? So two classes. Here's the first class, called prokaryotes or prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotes or prokaryotic. Now remember, you see a big word in biology. What do?
Split it up.
We split it up. And I can tell you, pro doesn't mean like pro sports. So if I were you, this is where I'd be writing in. Pro means before. Okay? In this case, pro means before. So to understand what a prokaryotic cell is, we got to kind of break out the word. Okay, see where this karyo? It came from, I believe, a Latin word that means kernel. But for us, it just means nucleus. Okay, so it's before nucleus. So it's a cell that has been around before the nucleus came around. That's all that's telling you. Okay, and that describes bacteria. Bacteria everywhere. They're on you, on me, in you, in me. Matter of fact, I heard it said that there's more bacteria on us and in us than we actually have cells. And if you remember looking at your cheek cell, and if you saw little black dots all over your cheek cell, those are bacteria. They're really, really small. Okay? So all bacteria, and they're the hardiest, most successful. All life could end as you know it, but there would probably still be bacteria. Shoot, they find bacteria when they drill down. They've drilled down 40 miles in solid rock. They found bacteria eating the rock. That's how hardy they are. Okay, they're never going to go away unless just the earth goes away. They're never going to go. Now, three things you need to know about prokaryotic cells, bacteria. They don't have a nucleus. You know, usually you see a nucleus and you see some big blob right here and it stays there, but that's not how it goes here. Bacteria has its DNA right here, but it also has little scraps of DNA here and here. I'm going to go over that in a minute. They're very simple and very small. We're going to look at, we're going to swab the school when we get toward the end of this year, and we're going to see what we would call the dirtiest, has the most bacteria. We'll probably even look at yogurt, because you guys do know that yogurt's loaded with bacteria, right? And so every time you take a spoonful, you're eating basically countless numbers of bacteria. You got to have them because they make it. But all bacteria are prokaryotic. And that means everything else is the other class, and we're going to discuss that in a second. Any questions on that? Okay, now, to finish up, remember, bacteria doesn't have a nucleus. They don't have nucleus anywhere. This stuff just kind of floats around on the inside. Think of it as a water balloon. It's just got stuff floating around. Okay? This helps the bacteria run, make protein, survive every day. You see these little round circles called plasmids? They give bacteria their superpower. It's what makes bacteria successful. You know, some bacteria live in hot water. This is why. Or some bacteria are antibiotic resistant. This is why. Okay? These that are not used for anything but helping it to survive. These just for the everyday running. Now, it's called a plasmid. So these little circles are called plasmids. Got to know that. Okay? That's it. Okay? Any questions on prokaryotic? Okay. Eukaryotic. See where it says eukaryotes? Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if this works. Yeah. Eukaryotic cells. Now, when we looked at our cheek cells are eukaryotic cells. If you look at the onion cell, the plant cell we're going to look at, it's a eukaryotic cell. Okay, you got to break the word down. Okay, we did before. We already know what karyo stands for. What is it? How would I write it? What do I write here? Yeah, nucleus. But eu, or eu, means true. So it's a cell that has a true nucleus. So it's a cell that's very big. Well, you know, when you looked at your cheek cell, if you were lucky enough to have bacteria on your cheek cells, you can see that they are huge. If you draw on a bacteria, they're probably about the size of this dot right here. That's how big they are compared to bacteria. That's not what these are, but it's about the same size. So eukaryotic cells, these are cells that have a true nucleus. And right here it is. Our nucleus contains our DNA. So in our cheek cells, there's all the instructions we need to make us. They're right in there. Just one. All you need is one. Okay? Big and complex. What's that mean? Well, if you look, it's got lots of different organelles in it. Big word. Got to know it. Organ-like structures inside it. Remember, this nucleus, that's pretty complicated. It doesn't move. Cells large. And I already told you they got our DNA right in here and how we make it. Now, one thing that you have to know, and it's listed down here, but plants are made of eukaryotic cells and animals. Okay, and then if you like mushrooms, fungi, they are made of it too. Protist, most of you probably don't know what a protist is, but it's just a big, blobby, one-celled organism. And it's this type of a cell. Okay? So two classes, prokaryotic, eukaryotic. If I ask you a question, if you paid attention, you should be able to answer it. Which one came first? Eukaryotic cell, prokaryotic cell? Pro, because remember pro means before. So they think that bacteria were here way before we were, and then this developed because of the bacteria. It's pretty cool. There was nobody there with a microscope saying, done, that's fact. But that's our best explanation here. Okay.